They thought she was weak. They thought she was just another girl they could humiliate to feel powerful. The slap echoed across the hallway, sharp and stinging, followed by cruel laughter. No one spoke up, no one moved, just silence and mocking eyes. But what the bullies didn't know was that the girl they had just struck had been training since she was a child. The pain on her cheek was nothing compared to the storms she had already survived. Her name was Amara. She walked into school every day with her head held high, even though whispers followed her wherever she went. Some mocked her skin, some mocked her hair, and others simply couldn't stand her quiet confidence. Amara rarely fought back, not because she couldn't, but because she had promised herself she wouldn't let anger control her. Yet that day, when the slap landed across her face, something inside her shifted. The leader of the bullies, a tall boy named Chris, smirked as if he had won something. "What are you gonna do, huh?" he sneered. The others laughed, enjoying the show. Amara looked at them, her hand still on her cheek. She could hear her mother's voice in her head. "Never let them break you. Strength is not just in the fists but in the heart." Amara took a deep breath. She had a choice: walk away again or stand her ground. Memories rushed back to her of the nights she spent training in the dim light of her uncle's dojo. Her uncle had raised her after her father passed, teaching her discipline, patience, and the art of martial combat. "One day life will test you," he often said. "You will be underestimated, but that will be your greatest weapon." She never thought those words would matter inside a school hallway. But now, they burned in her chest like fire. Chris moved closer, pushing her shoulder as if daring her to react. "Say something," he demanded. The other bullies circled, their voices loud, feeding off each other's cruelty. Students gathered around, some filming, some watching in guilty silence. Amara slowly lowered her hand from her cheek, her eyes locking with Chris's. Calm, steady, unshaken. That was the moment everyone realized something was different about her. Before Chris could shove her again, Amara's body moved with lightning precision. With a single twist of her wrist, she deflected his hand and swept his leg, sending him crashing to the floor in seconds. Gasps filled the hallway. No one had ever seen her move like that. Chris scrambled up, humiliated and red with anger, and lunged at her. But Amara was ready. She sidestepped, using his own momentum against him, and pinned him without even striking. Her movements were fluid, controlled. She wasn't fighting to hurt him, but to stop him. The crowd was stunned. The laughter had died. The bullies, once so loud, now stood frozen. Amara released Chris and stood tall, her voice calm but firm. "You think strength is about hurting people smaller than you, but real strength is about protecting yourself, protecting others, and never letting hate control you." Her words carried more weight than any punch could. For the first time, Chris had no response. His pride had been shattered, not just by her skill, but by her restraint. He knew she could have destroyed him completely, yet she chose not to. That truth burned deeper than any defeat. The bullies backed away, their power gone, while the students who had stayed silent now looked at Amara with awe and respect. But it wasn't over. That night, Amara sat alone in her room, replaying everything. She didn't feel victorious. She felt heavy. "Did I do the right thing?" she whispered. She thought of her father, of the lessons her uncle taught her. Deep down, she knew she hadn't just stood up for herself, but for every person who had ever been pushed down. The next day, she walked through the same hallways, but something had changed. Students nodded at her, whispered not in mockery but in admiration. Chris avoided her for weeks, but eventually something unexpected happened. He approached her quietly, no crowd, no sneer. His voice was awkward, hesitant. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry." Amara studied him for a long moment, then simply nodded. Forgiveness was not weakness, it was her final strike, the one that truly ended the battle. From that day on, Amara became more than just the girl who had been slapped. She became a symbol in her school, proof that resilience was stronger than cruelty, and that silence in the face of injustice only fuels the bullies. She had faced them not with rage, but with strength and control. And in doing so, she changed the story. Not just for herself, but for everyone watching. Her journey was never about revenge. It was about rising above, about showing that no matter how the world tries to break you, you can stand taller, stronger, and braver than ever before. And as she left the school doors that afternoon, sunlight hitting her face, Amara knew one thing for certain: she would never let anyone silence her power again.